iPhone photography is more popular than ever. Year after year, Apple has upgraded the camera package in the iPhones to the point where now it's probably the best camera you can carry around with you every day. Not only do you get great smartphone features, but you also have pro camera features packed in this small portable device. Sometimes where Apple's stock camera apps fall down, though, is with those pro features. There's not a whole lot of manual controls, and most people look to third-party apps for professional photography use cases on the iPhone. Of course, the downside of third-party apps is most of the time they charge a subscription, but there are some hidden gems that allow a one-time payment, including the app we're going to talk about today. I'll kick this off with the king of third-party camera apps. It's July 2025, and the app of the month is Halide. Halide has been around a long time on iOS, and it's probably the most Apple-like third-party camera app that you can get to take photos with your iPhone. At the time of this recording, they're offering a discount on the subscription for $20 for the year, and they also have a one-time payment option of $60. That gets you everything that's in the Halide Mark II application and an upgrade to Mark III when that comes out, but you'll miss out on the iterative features along the way. It's nice to have that one-time payment option, though. You buy once. If you use the app with the features that it has today and you like them, that's a great solution for people who don't want to have a recurring cost. And Halide effectively unlocks true pro controls for your iPhone camera. Manual exposure, manual focus, zebras, custom white balance, shutter speed, even ISO can be adjusted in the Halide application. There are many different file type options that you can select, a bunch of different customization in Halide, but there are three main shooting modes, I'll call them. Starting first with Apple Processed. This is the same processing that you would get from the stock photo app, just with all of Halide's custom professional controls inside of the application. So the pictures that you take are going to go through all of the same Fusion map and all the stuff that Apple has that processes the photos through the stock camera app. Then, of course, Halide lets you take raw images as well. You can do 12 megapixel or 48 megapixel raw photos in Halide, just like you can in the stock app. But again, you get the professional manual controls for your photography inside the app. And then finally, film simulations has been all the rage lately in the camera space. You have cameras like the Fujifilm X100 5 and 6 that have come out with built-in film simulations, some Leica Q-series cameras that have the same thing, a bunch of different film emulation LUTs that you can buy for various cameras. And Halide's take on this is called Process Zero. So it's supposed to give you more of a film-like image, like zero processing. That's the whole point. No AI, no sharpening, no auto contrast. It's just the image as the sensor sees it, and then you can adjust that how you see fit. Halide was one of the first to do this, I think, in the iPhone camera space, and now there's plenty of other camera apps out there that sort of do the same thing and offer different film emulations within the app. Stay tuned if you want me to cover more of those camera options in App of the Month in the future. And the customization doesn't stop there. I mentioned you can do 12 megapixel, 48 megapixel photos depending on what camera lens you are using. Certain modes are limited, certain features are limited by Apple. You can also save a HEIC file along with the RAW file, so it gives you something a little bit closer to a RAW plus JPEG workflow if you had a professional camera. You can save a smaller file that you can share right away, and then the RAW photo as well if you want to edit it in a different style after the fact. So that's a nice thing to see within the app. You can customize all of the buttons along the bottom where you have white balance and exposure. You can add in the flash, flip to the front camera. Couple different controls that you can easily access if that's something that you want to use all the time. Then, of course, the output options. You have the option to shoot in JPEG, you have the option to shoot HEIC, you have the option to shoot RAW, and you have a lot finer control over what you're doing in the app than you do in the stock Apple camera app. Now, of course, there's auto mode in Halide as well. So If you just wanted the zero processing type thing and you didn't want to worry about the settings to set up shots manually, you could do that as well and capture great photos as well with auto settings. And I mentioned at the beginning that this is the most Apple-like app, so that means support for things like the action button, the camera control. You can even add lock screen access as well. So the developers are continuously updating the app and taking advantage of the new things that Apple adds to iOS, which is what you would expect from a subscription service. So if you do decide to pay the $20 a year, or it's a little bit more than that if it's not on sale, you know that the developers are continuously working to support all of the features that Apple gives them. And I really like to see that. If I'm paying a yearly subscription and you're not even taking advantage of some of the developer tools that Apple is giving you, I start to question, why am I even paying the subscription? Yeah, it helps you support the older versions of iOS and the newer versions of iOS when they come out, but if you're not taking advantage of some of the simple features that Apple gives you, I start to question the value of the application. In this case, I don't really have that, but it's also nice to see the one-time purchase application. So even if I was going to pay this $20 a year, to get to the same value as the $60 yearly, I would have to subscribe for 3 years. But that means getting all of these updates along the way, and they add in some nice little bonuses like courses and tutorials and things along the way as well. So one last thing to mention is that Halide is made by a company called Lux. They have a family of apps, some of which I've talked about on the channel before, like Orion, which lets you use your iPad as a camera monitor, which I do use for my Sony cameras when I'm recording. They also have a video version of Halide that's called Kino. I haven't talked much about that, but I do like Kino as a video application. It has all of the same pro-level controls and lets you shoot Apple log in an HEVC file that gives you much smaller file sizes. I've mentioned that on the channel as well, but this is an active developer community. They have kind of a suite of apps supporting iOS and iPadOS, and everything is just developed to the highest quality. Everything works. It works well. The apps are pretty intuitive to use, and the results you get out of them are great as well. So all of this software is great, and as a new father, I'm taking more photos with my iPhone than ever before. So I'm trying out some different camera applications other than the stock camera app, just to change things up a little bit and see what kind of results I can get out of the iPhone. Because it's with me every day in my pocket, no matter where I go, it tends to be the best camera for me right now. If you liked this video, check out the rest of the App of the Month series and get subscribed for more. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.